Greetings, I'm Rob Chappers.
And I'm the captain.
And I'm incredibly excited because today we get to demonstrate a new, beautiful Ibanez JEM.
Now, you're a bit of a Steve Vai fan, aren't you?
I am a Steve Vai fan, and I think
When did you discover, how did he sort of influence your growing up as a sort of a guitar player?
Honestly, I got into Frank Zappa, Dweezil Zappa, and then because Steve was playing with Frank, there was a tune called Revenge or Return of the Hunchback Duke.
Return of the Mac?
No.
Not Return.
And in this, let me just put this on standage by. And in this tune, there was this ridiculous piece. And then I heard that Vi had played it and I wanted to learn it, and it was so hard. It took me weeks and weeks and weeks. I never really properly learned it. And then a friend of mine who was teaching me a bit of guitar called Mark Wilmot. Hi, Mark, if you're still around. From the band Slightly Miffed from Trowbridge and Wiltshire.
Slightly Miffed.
He taught me a chord, which is that, which I really liked. And then I heard about this thing called Lydian.
Yeah.
And then Steve Vai. And then I suddenly went to Woolworths. Remember Woolies?
Yes, where you used to buy your CDs from.
Actually.
And pick and mix.
And I lost it, and then I went and bought it again from Knees, the 3-floor department store in Wiltshire. And I got Passion and Warfare, and I sessioned that through my head so many times I could close my eyes. It actually would scare me sometimes when I was a kid listening to it, because it was such a big deal.
Well, I can't say that Steve Vai had anything like the impact on it. It obviously did on you. But anyway, he is one of the original sort of Ibanez mega endorsees that they had back in the 80s.
And rightly so. He's a brilliant player. He's actually influenced millions of guitar players.
Oh, I don't deny.
People like Dimebag was hugely influenced by not just his playing, but his production. And he's done a lot of stuff that people don't always, take credit for.
Now, up until recently, if you'd wanted to buy a JEM, you'd have been looking at sort of around about the £1,000 mark for a JEM. And of course, a lot of the JEMs that were on the market were actually the sort of the same sort of standard that Steve Vai would actually be sort of using himself. So they were just, pretty accurate repros of the guitar Steve was using. That is until, of course, the JEM Junior came along. Now, it's not Junior because it's smaller.
No.
It's simply Junior because it's a lot cheaper. So, spec-wise...
Can I just say, though, Lee?
Yes.
You used the word cheap.
I did.
This does not feel like a cheap guitar.
Well, that's a good thing, because it is a cheap guitar.
Okay.
But if it doesn't feel like it... That's the ultimate win, isn't it? What
Absolutely.
everyone wants. I'd like a cheap
End
guitar
of this
that doesn't
demonstration.
feel like a cheap guitar. So this is a mahogany body with all the kind of classic kind of Stevie Vai kind of appointments like the monkey grip and the Tree of Life inlay. It's using passive ceramic pickups.
They're very closely related to DiMarzio. You can hear the DiMarzio
There'll
flavours.
certainly be an attempt to sort of voice it like those sort of DiMarzio things. It's using, again, an Ibanez kind of own brand trem system. And it's I think, to be honest with you, it's usually on guitars of this sort of price point that it's things like the trem system that you find are where they don't perform as well as the more expensive ones. So we'll find out. I think we'll do a drop challenge, drop tune challenge.
Oh, it sounds great.
It's 25.5-inch scale length. It's got your skinny neck with a rosewood board.
Really nicely done inlays.
Yeah.
Great feeling neck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I had one of the original floral JEMs.
Wow.
Back in the middle of the 90s, and I had a prototype one that I understand Steve had played on the road and then ended up being sold as part of the stock. And I sold it to fund the repairing of my cat who'd broken its leg in a car accident. So I sold it to a store in Twickenham. For hardly any money, because I knew nothing about guitars back then. And then about 6 months later, when I had a bit of cash, I saw it in the window and said, "Can I buy it back?" And they went, "You're having a laugh, aren't you, mate? Steve used this. It was a prototype. It's worth thousands." And never again did I have that JEM.
Shocking.
Yes.
Some music shops, I tell you,
They
just
are.
give us a bad name.
They do.
Anyway,
Not Andertons, though.
let's take us through the tones and just riff out, to be honest with you.
By the way, we're using a bit of a secret
It's a
amplifier.
secret
here.
amp. Don't talk about it.
Yeah, don't talk about the secret amp that we're using, because that
Anyway.
would be bad. squeal. It's got
You love a squeal, don't you?
Oh man, it's all coming back to me.
It's so loud, isn't it? So we should just say that this secret amp that we're just using a TC Hall of Fame and a flashback delay and reverb through the effects loop, and
A little bit of-
for the bulk of that part you weren't even using the Spark, but
No.
there is a Spark and a wah-wah on the
Yes.
floor.
Let me give you some pickup sounds. I want to say, I really like this guitar.
I know you do. I can
Here's
tell.
what I think will happen with the Society of Beautiful Guitar Players
Mm-hmm.
online, all of whom I love. I think this is a wicked 80s modding guitar, and they're going to get these, they're going to sand them down, they're going to put different pickups in, they're going to do all sorts of stuff, because it's the kind of thing you wouldn't normally do to a gem, but now of course you could afford to do so.
Yes.
You're going to see these with War Pigs, you're going to see these with all sorts of different Sustainia systems, and it's just going to be a real joy and a delight to witness.
When you like doing a demo, because you start off, you're going, I'm just going to give you some tones, and you do like 1.5, and then you just forget and get into it. So
Yeah, that's what happens.
Could we have the other 3 tones?
Yeah, all right. Hold on a minute. Let me just, I'm just going to back off some of the gain, and that actually was all of the tones. I went through all of them. Just to give you a few more cleans, let me give you some of the cleans. You get all the classic in-between sounds because you've got a 5-way blade. So here's the first in-between sound. Now that'll wind up as well. And here's the other. You like that, didn't you?
I did like that.
Here's the other. Surprisingly, here's the other in-between sound.
let's test that Floyd. And well, it's not a Floyd, but let's test that Ibanez,
Let's
floating tremolo
test
system.
that Floyd.
And give it. Can you do the thing that Steve Vai does, where he does the flutter and also literally bounces it up and down like that? I want to give it maximum.
Okay.
That sounds great. So,
Let me out at the gain again.
okay.
There it is. Secret gain knob.
That noise there was literally like a choir of angels. As you put it down, there was about 3 harmonics that all went.
I like to
the
think
same
that's
time.
that's Steve's spirit animals
I think it was
in the room with us now.
It's his spirit
Can
animal.
I do it again now?
So that is in tune. That is in tune.
Great guitar.
Okay, so you guys, so a lot of guys, I'm guessing, because these guitars were about £360, so they're incredibly affordable. So I'm guessing quite a few of you will buy this guitar, and it'll be your first guitar that has a floating trem, locking trem system on it. So just in case this is going to be your first guitar like that, couple of downsides to owning a guitar with a floating trem. Number one is you've got to remember that once you've locked the
Don't tune
nut
it here.
up here, do not try and tune from up
Which
here.
actually happened to Pour a Beer on the East Coast American
Oh,
tour.
you're kidding me.
One of the
Just wasn't
guys
thinking.
started tuning
Yeah.
and went, "Oh no, that didn't work." And then he got it and was like, "Something's wrong with my guitar." And I'm like, you touch here and press, and then you feel one that's tight, and you realise someone's tuned it there.
Oh.
It's just...
So you tune from the bottom.
Yes.
The other thing, of course, is that if you, even if you do undo these and you start to adjust, say you wanted to drop tune, so you think, right, I'll just drop this bottom E string down a step. What happens is the tension on the tremolo system changes, so it sort of moves slightly, and that throws all your other strings out of tune. So what you have to do with this style of guitar, with any style of guitar, is kind of have it set up one per tuning. So if you're set, for example, if
Yeah,
you
but
use
the thing
2
is
or
that
3
makes it sound
tunings.
like it's a real burden to own a Floyd Rose, and it
No.
isn't if you know what you're doing. If you
But
learn,
if you were gigging, you would have more than one. You couldn't have one guitar and just go. You'd have to have 2 or 3 guitars.
well, you say that, but actually, well, I think some of us do sometimes. I have actually had this one undone before and just drop tuned. It's not a massive deal. Sometimes it is. It depends on the gauge of string you use.
Fair
Depends on the tuning you're in.
Fair.
And it depends on how tight the springs are too.
Yeah.
If your springs are mega tight, or if you've got a tremolo, obviously it's no problem.
Well, and the last thing is just to say on these kind of guitars is just factor in that restringing times are a little bit longer than if you had just either a Strat style trem or no trem at all.
But it's an experience thing.
But of course, on the flip side, if you don't, all those things that Rob just did, the dive bombings, the flutters,
And the fact that
everything
there's some
else,
tune still.
yeah, you couldn't do
No.
if you didn't have a guitar that had that style of trem system on it. So yeah, for all the negatives, of course, the positives are what you can do with the guitar.
But for me,
Can you do that thing where Steve Vai bounces it? Can
Yeah,
you do
alright.
a thing?
All right, I'll do that thing for you.
Can you not incorporate that into some sort of? Maybe it wasn't.
It
even
just feels
Steve-
tremendously disrespectful to the guitar to do
You
that.
sort of think any minute now the tremolo is going to snap. And,
Yeah. this guitar, you know. A lot of right, and not a lot of wrong.
You're having some fun, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, that's it really. There's not much else to tell you. It is only available to purchase in white at the moment.
Good.
I say at the moment. I've got no idea whether it'll be.
If you are a Steve Vai fan, just go and buy one of these. Do it! Do it! Do it! Just buy it, because you won't regret it, honestly. Just go in, try a bunch, pick your favourite one out, and you'll enjoy that, and that's the way it is. Thank you.
What can I say? Absolutely.
And also, I just want to say, if Steve Vai does watch this video, because we have been quite surprised sometimes. For example, Metallica have watched our videos, and some other artists.
I've heard that rumour.
That I love you. Thank you for inspiring me as a player. Genuinely, hugely appreciate all the music you put out. And I'm sorry if my playing was bad. I was 40 the day before yesterday, and I was hungover and tired. That's my disclaimer.
And he's 55, and he doesn't
but
hold him back, does it?
he's 55, but he's incredible.
Or whatever age he is. He's younger. Oops. Sorry about that. I'm not sure. Anyway,
I've been Rob Chapman.
I've been the captain.
We bid you farewell.
Rubbish shot that one. It's all British.